What's going on, all you Joe Hill enthusiasts? Your two favorite rascals are back once again, and we are going to be reviewing what else but a horror movie tonight. We love horror movies, we live for them. And when this one was announced, we were very excited and hearing that Ethan Hawke was going to play the villain and that creepy mask behind Uncle Logan there. But that's right, we were talking about Scott Derrickson's The Black Phone.
Hello? Is it me you're looking for? Oh, that's
Uncle,
right. That's right. We got yet another horror movie me and this guy have been super excited about for some time. Love Scott Derrickson. His movies like Sinister, which I absolutely loved. Doctor Strange, the first movie, and Haunting Emily Rose. I think it was his first film, but he's back to his horror roots with the brand new film, The Black Phone, that just came out from Universal Pictures. And really had a great time with this, taking place in Denver in the late 1970s. And these kids start disappearing in the neighborhood and find out that they get murdered, essentially. And that sets up the character of this guy behind me, the grabber. And that's Ethan Hawke playing this mysterious and I guess somewhat like Michael Myers that creeps in behind children and shows up. But he wears a mask. He's like a top hat. He's a magician. You know, your cliche creepy ass guy that you don't take candy from, sort of thing. He has a van. He has black balloons in the back. So it's just really creepy. And kids start going missing in this town.
I love the nods to Halloween with Michael Myers.
Yep.
Also, Stephen King's It, even that movie with how Pennywise would sneak in from behind, and obviously the balloons that the grabber carries. He drives this, creepy black van that says like abracadabra. I guess he's supposed to be a magician and hire, basically. So he probably went to kids' parties and stuff, as a doing that for a job. But on the side, of course, he's looking to abduct them, and that's what this movie is really about. This child abductor. But the movie focuses on a 13-year-old boy named Finney, played by Mason Thames. He does a really great job as a lead in this film. Very solid up and coming actor. I look forward to his work. He did a great job in this. But I love how this movie's set up. It's with him. He's living in Colorado, like you mentioned, in this small town. And him and his sister are walking to school one day, and they come up and they see this fight happening. And it's this, the town badass kid, and he's fighting another kid and just beating his ass, punching him. It's really a brutal scene. You kind of slowly meet these other kids that Finney goes to school with and everything. And then all of a sudden they start disappearing one by one. And of course, we know who's involved in this, and it's the grabber, played by Ethan Hawke. And we finally get Ethan Hawke in a villain role in a horror movie. It's awesome. We've seen him obviously in Sinister from Scott Derrickson, but it's cool to see him stretching out and do the villain roles now. Obviously, he's been in the Moon Knight, and now we're seeing him in the Black Phone, and he did a great job in this. He really sells the creepy child abductor role here well.
He's having hell of a year. I mean, this guy's been active like 30 plus years and still relevant, still doing his thing. As Ethan Hawke, really one of the best in the business and playing a lot of different roles. But he's one sinister villain in this. He's really creepy. Abducting his children and putting them in the basement. It has to do with the black phone on the wall that we find out later in the film. It has to do with Finney's character, getting captured eventually and really talking to all the previous victims in a supernatural kind of way. And it definitely feels much like a Joe Hill book, just from the supernatural elements alone. It really worked, it's just really creepy, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat, not really sure what's going to happen.
I really love the look of the film. They really did a great job of capturing like 1970s, the way the film is grainy, even obviously the wardrobe, the soundtrack, the great music that they play.
Yeah, I felt like it was in a dingy basement, like Uncle Steve's in the 1970s, like Coors Banquet beer and a pack of smokes, pack of Camels. And that's what it looked like.
Yes, they really captured it, and all the like shag carpet and griminess. And yeah, he did a great job of setting the atmosphere, that's for sure. But yeah, Finney ends up getting abducted, and he starts getting calls, basically from the dead. Some interesting things that happen. We won't spoil anything from here, but that's all what the Black Phone is about, being set up. That he hears this phone ringing in his room, and he answers it, and it's people he doesn't know, but he kind of pieces it together and figures out who's calling him there.
Points him in the right direction of how he could possibly get out of this really, really bad situation, not really knowing if he's going to survive. or if he's going to die in this basement in this guy's house in Colorado. And another big part is Finney's younger sister, Gwen, played by Madeline
Gwen.
McGraw. She was fantastic in this. Really kind of a no bullshit kind of little girl, especially that scene in the principal's office with the cops. Like she just totally went off on him. And I'm like, this kid's cool. And she's a pivotal part in this, trying to find her brother that's kidnapped, and also has to do with their dad too. So these kids are dealing with everything going on with Ethan Hawke's character being the grabber, and their abusive father too after the mother died. We've seen this in a lot of movies, as they beat the shit out of his kids. So they're dealing a lot, with trauma and their, internal stuff, and a lot going on around them, with this murderer guy and then their father too. So they're dealing with a lot. You feel for these kids, and they really capture that, I think, in the script. Really great, relationship with the brother and sister, and her having these powers trying to track her brother down after he's kidnapped.
Yeah, the dad was played by Jeremy Davies, who obviously we've seen in Lost and numerous other shows, but he plays the abusive Twister. Yes. He plays the abusive dad so well, though, so easy, just he already has the mullet and everything. He already has the white trashiness look to him. So I thought it was funny, and he did a great job in the role. But yeah, like he mentioned, his sister Gwen, played by an actress, Madeline McGraw, she did a great job. She was every bit as good as Mason Thames was as Finney, and they worked well together. Her having to kind of convince her drunk dad that, of where Finney was, and trying to, keep the family together during this craziness that's happened in her life. And, I liked her no nonsense scene there. That was funny. She kind of tells him what's up. And yeah, it's definitely Finney and Gwen. They were a great pair, brother and sister, in this movie. And the grabber, he had some great scenes too, like where he'd come out and they'd show him abducting a kid like him with all the black balloons slowly coming out the back of the van. You don't see him, and then all of a sudden he's like in screen taking the kid in the back of the van. Some intense scenes, and some intense scenes towards the end of the film too, where Finney's trying to get away from him. I liked how they set that all up, and I really loved. This felt like a Joe Hill adaptation where we've seen Nosferatu, and we both enjoyed that. And I feel like Scott Derrickson did Joe Hill, a solid on this one, and directed probably pretty straight from the short story, The Black Phone. I haven't read it, but the book was written by Joe Hill, and then the screenplay, so obviously he wanted to make sure that he shot Joe Hill's, vision and got it right up on the screen. And I really loved how they shot the movie.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually way better than I actually imagined. First, see the trailer looked good, but I was pretty much blown away, watching this. Molly, she loved the story. I love the supernatural elements to it, the real life trauma. Dealing with the abusive father, there's a lot to say in this movie. Villain Ethan Hawke was definitely terrifying. Paying homage to old Uncle Michael Myers, one of the first slashers, grandfathers of this genre. With the way he's creeping around and all the kids and stuff like that. I can see some scenes that remind me of it as well with Pennywise. But a lot of great horror here, great story, great acting. Love the score in this movie, the overall tone. It just worked for me. This movie pretty much blew me away. One of the best horror flicks of the year for sure thus far in 2022. And I had an absolute blast with it. So with that being said, I'm going to give Scott Derrickson's The Black Phone a 4.5 out of 5 Ethan Hawke hair pieces.
I'm so happy we both enjoyed this movie. We've been looking forward to it for so long, and it delivered. Thank you to Scott Derrickson, Ethan Hawke, and all the actors. Everybody did a great job in this film. I loved the look of it. They really captured the 70s. Loved the soundtrack. I loved how creepy Ethan Hawke was. I loved, the actual story from Joe Hill, very imaginative. It's not something that you've seen in a movie before. Like you mentioned, a lot of supernatural stuff going on, and very interesting. I'm so glad that we got a good horror movie this year, finally. So Scott Derrickson has delivered a great horror film for 2022. And I'm thankful for it. I'm going to give Scott Derrickson's The Black Phone a 4 out of 5 Ethan Hawke hair pieces.
Well, we're interested in hearing your guys' thoughts on Scott Derrickson's The Black Phone. What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? What's your most anticipated horror flick of the year? Is it Halloween Ends, hopefully once and for all? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to click subscribe. Also, check out these wild mass assailants on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV, movie news and reviews.
We're going to be here every week for the summer. what a blockbuster summer it's been. There's been something every week to look forward to. I think this coming week's like the slowest it's been. But from here on out, we're going to be getting a lot of, especially shows that are going to be streaming and movies. It's pretty exciting to be reviewing all this stuff with you. And thank you guys for tuning in, and we will be back very shortly. Until the next Cinephellas movie review, I'm Uncle Henry. That's my good mate, Uncle Grabber. Cheers.
Grab me 2 more. It's blue.
Don't answer the black phone, Logan.
Hello?